Yo everyone, 609 Collector here coming at you another video. This time I'm going to try something a little different. I'm going to try to be a little bit more organized and get through this quicker. I'd already shot a review for this thing, but it was super long, about 30 minutes. I'm going to condense this. So what I did was I organized my thoughts on what I thought about it, wrote them down real quick so I kind of have a guideline, and I'm just going to try and jump through this but still be as detailed as possible because I'm not discovering this for the first time. I've already done this and I've already had my thoughts, and I'm just gonna bring it to you. Now, the first thing I'm gonna do is say how when I first got this figure and opened it up to when I finished doing that 30 minutes review, so just like open it one night, the next morning shoot the video, and in that time of actually playing with it, my opinion of the figure changed so much. Went from, yeah, it's okay, to absolutely loving it. At first I thought, like, if I would have got this at release and this would have been my first Sideshow, I might not have liked it. But from like getting in there, playing with it, posing it, seeing what they'd done, how they'd executed it, I really appreciate this figure. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is run over accessories. Now, out of the box, it does not come with these arms, nor does it come with these hands. You get these arms. Okay. Now, these are articulated arms that don't want to focus. So these are the arms that come on the figure. Nice musculature. And the articulation with the slight bend at the elbow. Now, you might be saying, why do you get extra arms? Normally, you wouldn't get extra arms. You would just get the one set of arms on the figure. But what Sideshow decided to do was they sculpted the upper part of the arms up there to fit this in to the slots from the bicep down. I did not realize there was staining on there, but there's brown staining on here. But oh well, it's on the inside, you'd never see it. So you get two of those arms. Oh, where's the other one? Ah, here they are. You get two of these arms. And then you get two that are bent like this. This is the left arm. They're even labeled inside. L for left, the other one says right. But I have the other one on. You get this. And then you get two of these. And if you're wondering why they would do that, it's so that when you get Wolverine in a pose like this, or any pose where his forearms are displayed, it gives you the option to not have that line be seen, which is actually really cool. So it gives his arms a seamless look. Alright. Now, I'm not going to get too much into that for now. I'm just going to point that out. And I like it because in the only scene you really see is going to be this here. And you can push it in as close as possible and then finagle this part of the costume so that you can't see it. So, oh no, not bad. Pretty good execution. Different, but not bad. And he still comes with like just as many accessories as like Thor would, because Thor didn't even have two heads. He just had a hammer, some hands. And then the exclusive had Throg. This exclusive would have had the more Masa blade. Unfortunately, I didn't get that, but I'll have to make do and survive. More Masa. I will find you. I want that sword. Alright, next, he came with hands. So he doesn't have two plain fisted hands. Alright, you get the claw hands. I'm going to pop one off so you can look at it. There we go. Now this one is different. This one has pegs in each of the arms have pegs, where usually figures will have a peg in each hand, but it still gives you 6 pegs and an extra set that they send in case anything happens. So 8 pegs in total. You only have 6 hands, so you're good. So this set of hands are these super awesome hands. These are the clawed hands. And then I'm looking at this one, it's slightly bent. These claws are actually real metal, so you want to be careful. Look how sharp they are. You can see like how they come in to make it like blades. They get narrow at the tips. Very, very nice. Now this side is brown with like a leather appearance. And the inside is a dark brown or black. So it looks very nice. I really like this. I really like the color contrasts, the shapes. And so you get 2 of those hands. When putting them on, I try to avoid like beating the side of the blade. Try to put my finger here, and just apply a little pressure. That's probably not all the way, but it'll hold for this review. All right. And then you get 2 sword holding hands, which are nice if you have the Muramasa or you have a sword. I do have a sword somewhere. You can hold the sword in either hand, or you can hold the sword in one hand and the sheath in the other. The fingers aren't connected to the thumb, so you can open those up. Identical hands. Mine has a little bit of paint scuffing here, like where they put the silver paint on. You can still see a little dark underneath, but that's no big deal. It's nothing I can't touch up with some paint. Same pattern, brown on the outside and dark on the inside. And then the last thing you get are these 2 hands. So these are nice open hands. Again, very pliable fingers, so if he's reaching or grabbing or holding something, you can manipulate those hands. Now, it doesn't come with that unmasked head, it comes with this head. And this head has such an amazing sculpt to it. I've heard some people say the unmasked head is the exclusive. No, this is the base figure. Right here's everything you get. The exclusive was the Muramasa. It's the red blade that has a piece of Wolverine's soul that can cut off his healing factor. Alright. So you see this ferocious head sculpt of Wolverine, and you're going to see these teeth exposed. Look at that. You see the lines on the face, around the jaw, the stubble, and the shading on the chin. I gotta say, man, of all the head sculpts I have of different figures, this is one of the best. Joker's amazing too, but Superman, Thor, Punisher, this one is the best. This figure has the best head sculpt and the best detailing. Here I am like 2 years later, but yeah. And a lot of people have commented on these eyes. They're not white, they're almost like a silver sheen, but man, they are nuts. So this is an amazing head sculpt. All right, the last of the accessories that you get are this mask, which you can see I pulled off pretty easily because it's just a folded up mask. For when he pulls it back, it has a magnet in there, and it connects to some metal in this back, which I'll get to later. But this is just a really nice detail. It's better than just having an unmasked head, and you're like, oh, where does mask go? There, that answers that question. And this is the best accessory in the whole box. This unmasked head of Wolverine is just masterful, straight beautiful. You can see those yellow eyes under there. It's a brown that's almost yellow, and it's just such a menacing color, like a werewolf in a movie. You get this face with the upturned smirk, but still get those big feral teeth. I thought to myself, if you put this head on a suited body and you were making a custom figure, he would just look like a vampire. You know, he's got these big old mutton chops over there. You get the ear. Now the hair on the detail is nice and sculpted, although there's just black on the hair. There's no other highlights or anything, so that's whatever. And there's a little bit of bleed. Some of the brown comes in here. If you wanted to touch this up, you could, but I mean, if it doesn't bother you, it don't bother me. The way the heads fit is just there's a big hole in there, and they kind of fit on this weird looking like yuppie peg up there. But again, absolutely love this, and the paintwork on this is solid, man. You get a whole bunch of different sparkles. You get a whole bunch of different layers and depth, some reds, some darker areas, the stubble for the chin, but it's not overdone. You know, Superman, I wasn't super like a huge fan. I don't mind the head sculpt. I think it's too broad for that thin body, but it had like this really dusky kind of look on it. It made it look dirty. And Punisher's is very, very sunburnt looking, very winded, wind-burnt, I guess. So take that off, and then I'm going to run into this figure and its articulation, and I'm going to try and get this done in 15 minutes. But this is going to be the more in-depth part because the accessories are cool, but the figure has a lot going on. A lot of things they try to do. Pardon me for 1 second. Alright, I had to get some more. Okay, so moving into this figure, first thing I'm going to talk about is the costume. Costume is almost like feels kind of like a canvas material. You know, you're gonna get in there, you're gonna look at it. This is almost like a suede, and this is almost like a light brown canvas. It's 2 parts. The upper part here tucks into the lower part here. There's Velcro on the front of the pants. Now the belt buckle's plastic, but this is kind of like a soft pleather, which is okay. Which was a slightly thicker material because it just bends a little easily. You can see the costume pulling out of the back because it velcros, and there's a functional zipper here. I'll come right back to that detail in a moment. All right, another really cool thing you may not notice because they did it so well is it looks solid here, but see, this is slightly shinier. This is actually spandex. The cutout portion for the knees is spandex, which is really cool because it allows for extra articulation here in the knee, so it can get full range of motion. I honestly wish a lot more figures had spandex inside of it, even if the spandex wasn't really visible until you moved. Like if it was just like, I don't know, say you had the seam here and it looked whole, but as soon as you stretched it, there was spandex. It would allow the figure to have more motion. I don't know. Might be more of a pain in the butt, but whatevers. Now, when you see it on the box, it makes the costume look a lot more form-fitting, of course. But if you pull these down and just kind of stretch it, when you're posing and you finagle the costume, you know, the bagginess of the costume can be worked with. I recommend having something long, soft, and rounded at the end for the tucking. My daughter had a hair clip thing that's round on the end. I've used it for so much. Helped me get Thor's cape back on, helps me tuck Wolverine's costume in, and it doesn't snag anything. Now the costume goes down into the leg. The boot is a separate piece here. All right, and then that goes, and then this connects here. We're going to take them off and we're going to talk about the boots and the gauntlets. All right. The boots and the gauntlets are a plastic. They're both a soft kind of rubber with amazing detail. Just like you want Wolverine's boots to be. You get the black and then the browns, and then the buckles and the little rivets in the back that you can see. And since it is a separate piece, it allows for articulation in the foot, which is very nice. You have steel in the back, steel up front, and nice treads on the bottom. Now the gloves, this one's probably still loose. There you go, big boy, stand on your own. Yeah, I'm not going to trust you. Gloves are soft rubber, not too flexible, but you see these are more like gauntlets, which is very nice. Alright. You can see all the wrinkled lines. It looks like there's stitching here where these straps go over the inside. So it does actually look like it's a bracer on his hand. And you can see, so you can get a little bit better look. There's scratch marks like he's been blocking things with this. It's got this old dried leather look to it, which is very nice. And it comes down to a point here. You can slide this over any one of the arms. That's why it was designed. All right. Any one of the arms can go over. Now, one thing is with these arms, I'll show you on the claw in hand. Because of the bicep being so curved, I've noticed that it stops this from going down as far. So Wolverine's hand here, the end of the gauntlet comes all the way out to the tip of the blades there, which isn't that big of a deal. You know, but you will know that you definitely have more. If you were to put this hand on, the gauntlet would stop right about there. So maybe you'll have slightly more in the way of articulation, but not a whole lot. All right, so I'm gonna put this on here. I'm gonna swap out hands just because. See how easy this is. I can twist that around there. Yeah, just because I'm about to go over it. His articulation, and I don't want to be swinging this figure around with these claws on here because I don't want to risk them snagging on me. All right. Since I got him on there, I figured show you how easy is to swap them out. So you can swap out those arms for these arms that easily, and you'll see that you're getting 90 degrees there versus the pre-posed arm, right one, which is like almost a 45. So if they were side by side, you definitely get more of a bend out here. The bicep is more bulged because it shows that flex, where this is more relaxed. All right. Now we're out of the box. I don't know what method they used for the neck, but this neck is very loose. It's got 2 points. Well, there's really no articulation up top because of the way that weird peg thing was. So I suspect that the bottom is extra wide to give you a much bigger range of motion than you normally would. The problem is that ball or whatever down there pops out. At first it annoyed me, but you know what? You can live with it because the head will still hold any position you put it in. It is annoying, but it's functional. All right. Now when I get to this part back here, before I go all the way through the articulation, I'm going to unzip this just to show you another piece. Articulation. You can pull the zipper up and see the costume. He has these big cuts in his back, these big butterfly joints. All right, which allows you to pull the arms way back like that, or you can bring them in like this. Okay, so that's an option you're going to have, and you can use it however you like for posing. And then again, once you get in the spot, you just finagle his costume, and if you have this arm on here, it'll cover up the joint, you know, but it gives you this. And then of course you could be undressing Wolverine. I'm not going to completely tuck it back in, but that zipper is the metal that allows the mask to connect. And the only thing is, it's a little bit cumbersome and leaves a little bit of a hump in the back. Okay, now moving down, you don't get an upper bicep swivel, like you don't get a cut here where the shoulder meets the bicep, and that's probably because they have this form fitted to fit on there nicely and kind of minimize the joint. But you do get this, so you can work with that. Again, I went over how this moves there, and then of course you can rotate and flex down here, although the gauntlet's slightly restricting. Now here inside the body, you do have cuts, but they're really tight, so you're not getting a lot in the way of moving down or back, although you do get some side to side, and you have amazing rotation, so you can get a little bit side to side, but that's about it. And the costume does pull out and bunch and all that stuff, but like I said, get yourself a round smooth tool for tucking, because it'll help. Your fingers are going to have a time. All right, I can stand on his own. The hips are very mobile, and this one's pretty tight. All right, he's got nice flexibility. You can get to that 90 degrees. You know, we can get some kick action in there. No problem. You have rotation at the upper thigh. You can come forward this much. Look at that. You can get forward very high. Back a little bit. You have double jointed knees, and because of the spandex and the cut, very, very flexible. This is one of the most flexible ones I've had as far as 12-inch figures, although I don't have many of them. You get all the way up to the butt. And like I said, the two-part boots, this being the soft rubber, and here you do get nice ankle articulation, which is very, very good, allowing you to get into some poses. All right. So like I said, at first, you know, certain things like the wobbly head, the finickiness of the costume, they kind of bugged me. But once I really got to the figure and realized that Sideshow had done a lot of things here, and everything they had done had a purpose, and as a whole, it works out pretty well. You can manipulate this figure and this costume and the head how you want, and get them to stay there in a way that makes it look nice. And when it's said and done, you can have this figure looking like a statue, you know? And I think that's what they were going for. They give you the option of the seamless parts so that you put him up on your shelf and you can just have him looking like he's a statue, which is kind of what you want in the scale. But of course you collect figures because you want to be able to pose them how you like. And that's exactly what you get. You get the option to pose him however you want. But then once you put in that effort, he will be looking really, really great. You know, it's like a statue, but you feel like you sculpted it because he's in the pose that you wanted him to be in, which is really great. I want to get some dynamic stands to hold 1/6 scale figures because I want to have Wolverine in some like badass flying poses, jumping through the air. I think it looked really nice. It's totally doable. I like to put them up on the stand. I like to get 1 foot up, 1 foot down. And I think that like when it's all said and done, this figure, this costume, the amazingness of the head sculpt, I think is just either head sculpt just looks so great. When you get this guy in the pose you want him to, and you can see him from the angle you want to see him at, he's just fantastic. Absolutely love that. And then of course the manipulations like the crotch, putting a little extra work, but figure 100% worth it, 100% worth the work. Absolutely love it. Hands down, love it. So those are my thoughts on this. It's got its faults, but in the end, Sideshow had a vision. I think they executed it very well, and I think this figure is what you want out of a 6 scale figure. Amazing detail, just a great costume. It requires a little bit of work to put into it, but that's cool. Unless your posing is absolute garbage, you'll be alright, and you can practice with this. And I feel like the end result will totally be worth your time and make you feel great. So you can put Wolverine in a pose you can be proud of. I want to build a diorama and have this guy just in there looking amazeballs. So thanks for your time. Appreciate you. Hit like, subscribe. I can't stare at this. Yeah, your fly was open, bro. Come on. Whole world staring at you. So please, hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want to see what I got coming out in the future. And then hopefully I'll catch you soon. Peace.